Well, welcome everybody to the Legacy Lounge. I'm JBO, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet, sending you blessings and love. I'm coming to you today from the amazing, absolutely wonderful country of Indonesia. I'm actually in Gili T. I've been over here on Lombok and spending some time in Bali, and it's all about legacy. I'm telling you that because I'm so blessed to have spent the last couple of days over on Lombok opening up our school. That's right. We have opened up the Ignite Possibilities Classroom of Hope and the Ignite Humanity Classroom of Hope. And I'm sharing with you again because it's all about legacy. The opportunity to open up these classrooms for these children who have been using a pop-up school for the last 5 years since the earthquake hit Lombok, finally getting a real classroom, finally having the ability to be in an environment to really nurture their education was beautiful and heartfelt. In fact, it was one of the top moments of my life as I came around the corner towards the school. They had a giant parade, a band, all the children were lined up in the street wearing their traditional Balinese costumes. They danced for us, they performed for us. We were able to unveil the school. And the truth is that really is an incredible opportunity to step into legacy. Now, folks, anyone can do it. 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to build a school and support children in need. And just every single day, we started raising money. We started talking about it. We started building the intention towards it. And that is the power of this show and the power of sharing with you. You don't have to open a school, but you can create a legacy just by touching the lives of somebody else. And we've got an incredible legacy maker here to talk just about that, because we want to inspire you to know that you can create legacy in your life and start building a legacy around the globe. These little incremental movements that you make create this ripple effect where legacy starts to be infused. And I truly want everyone to be thinking in the mindset of legacy, knowing that they have the ability to impact even in the smallest way in a positive way. And what you put your intention to, you create. And just going to show that our school has manifested itself truly by just one day after another, deciding that that was what we were going to do. And it's absolutely come to fruition. Next week, maybe I'll show you a little video of the fun that we had in Bali. So as you can see, the sun is just rising. We are here as the beautiful sun is coming up. And we're talking about legacy with one of the people that absolutely, in my mind, really epitomizes legacy and has truly been a mentor and an inspiration to me. And that's really what I feel legacy makers are about. The amazing woman, Diana Wentworth, is a New York Times bestselling and award-winning author of 10 books, including a popular romantic memoir, Send Me Someone, A True Story of Love Here and Hereafter. And she was the first co-author with Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen in the popular book series, we all know it, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Just so happened to sell over 5 million copies. She hosted a long-running television series, The New Way Gourmet, with her late husband, Paul. Diana has always sparked delight by bringing people together for enjoyment and upliftment. Diana and Paul formed the Inside Edge, a weekly breakfast speaker forum in Southern California that hosted more than 1,500 speakers. And she helped launch the careers of many of the most celebrated authors and transformational speakers that you know in the past 35 years, including Jack Canfield, Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, and Louise Hay. Incredible people, and Diana's been around all of them. Well, these days, Diana delights in offering online courses, individual coaching, and hosting women's wisdom circles. She reminds us to use joy as a compass in manifesting our greatest potential. And she will soon be sharing more wisdom, tips, and practices and insights in her forthcoming 11th book, Expect Magic. I can't wait to read this book. She's going to be talking more about it. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Diana Wentworth to the show.
That was the best introduction.
Well, thank you. I mean, I just love sharing about you. Yes, thank you so much. I love talking about you. I love sharing what you're doing. And you really have created a legacy. 35 years of working with transformational leaders, being on television, writing books, decades of inspiring and encouraging individuals. let me go right back to the beginning. Where and how did this all start? What was the ignite moment, the spark in Diana Wentworth that she decided this was going to be the direction of her life?
I'm 82. And so I've had numerous ignite moments, and those have all turned out incredibly. I just seem to be able to magically access what's really my essence and instead of my ego, and find a form for it. So um, I was going to inherit a trust fund that would have taken care of me, and it was wiped out suddenly. And I was married to Paul, and we had to suddenly reinvent ourselves. And we came up with the idea of cooking. I was teaching cooking in my kitchen and studied it for years. And we had an amazing cooking career. We wrote 6 cookbooks. One of them won Cookbook of the Year. We had a television show on the Lifetime Network, and a school on Sunset Boulevard where Wolfgang Puck taught, and all of that. But then the market changed. If you live as long as I do, the market changes, and we had to come up with something else. And we were invited to go into the Soviet Union as early kind of citizen ambassadors. And we got to be with a bunch of thought leaders, Barbara Marx Hubbard and people like that. And I noticed that they were all sitting around sharing resources and excited and sharing information. And I had this ignite moment. I thought, wait a minute. I don't have to cook the food to gather people together. This was like a revelation. So Paul and I, it was just at a time when on the East Coast, all these power breakfasts were starting. People were doing networking for their businesses. And I thought, wait a minute, we can do networking to uplift lives. We can host the most incredible speakers. And we started it, and it took off like a rocket. And Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Barbara DeAngelis, all these people. And I didn't advertise it. I mean, there was no internet. We had a little snail mail, but word of mouth is always the best. And people just kind of wandered into these meetings, and we soon opened chapters in Orange County and San Diego. We met at 6:30 in the morning. So what else are you doing at that time? They used to say, if you snooze, you lose. So people would show up, and I would give these come as you will be in 5 years parties. And I remember the first one was such a hit. We did it over and over. And you had to show up as who you were going to be in 5 years. You had to have evidence. You had to tell all of us how you had transformed yourself into this amazing human being. And Jack Canfield at our 35th anniversary said that he has used that party idea for the closing of every training he's done ever since. But it was because somebody asked me what I was going to do in 5 years. And it was like a window opened and then closed. And I had this vision of a kind of a pink ballroom. And there were all these people there. And I knew it wasn't a church, but we'd started it. And I guess we were a part, without realizing it, we were a part of the fledgling human potential movement in Los Angeles and then throughout Southern California.
And it has just grown and grown and grown. I mean, it's incredible. You mentioned a few things that I think we really need to pinpoint. You talked about pivoting. You talked about not, everything changed, and you had to change with it, because I think a lot of times people get stuck. They've been doing something for a long time. Things change, jobs change, location changes, relationships change, and they don't move with the times. They don't see what's next. And I think that's a really valuable quality of a legacy maker. How can I move with the change? How can I see what's needed in the market? How can I see what's different? But then you also talked about networking and community and how powerful it is to be around people. And I think people and connections is really the new currency of success. I think that is really where we're going to create massive wealth, internal wealth, the deeper seated wealth, by really connecting with one another. And I'd love for you to talk about the power of connections, because I heard a great quote the other day. The internet has made us closer to the people who are far away, but less connected to the people who are closer to us. And I'd love for you to share about the power of connection.
Yeah. Oh man, the power of connection has always been magic for me. For years, I hosted a gathering called Expect Magic, and I would invite people to show up and expect to meet fascinating people, and all sorts of stories happened. I think I'll do that online pretty soon because it's so spectacular. But I would watch, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen met, and soon they were brainstorming their book Chicken Soup for the Soul. Barbara DeAngelis had never written a book. Dr. Susan Jeffers showed up at the party in a limousine with 3 mock books and said that she had just returned from her 3rd New York Times bestseller tour. So what happened at the Inside Edge and around every table that I've ever done, because I can't help but ask, kind of quantum questions to people that draw them out, and they begin sharing from a very deep place. There's 2 kinds of wealth. There's bank account wealth, and that's fine.
Right.
There's solvent, and then there's heart wealth. So I'm always talking about heart wealth, and I would always set up discussions at the tables or ask, provocative questions so that people would be speaking from something they really cared about, something they were passionate about. And then the connections begin to deepen and deepen and deepen. And that happens in our wisdom circles because we start out with a group of women who don't know each other at all. And all of a sudden we find ourselves forever bonded for life. We're like joined at the hip from now on. And I think that's where the magic is. That's where the magic can be expected, is in hanging out with the most fascinating people that you can find and sharing information, sparking each other, spreading the word about each other. It's really thrilling. It's everything to me, really.
And that idea that you say expect magic, I think is really powerful because legends and legacy makers, they always sort of see the glass half full. They always see the shiny side of the coin. And for a lot of people maybe who are listening, they may be thinking, well, not for me, or that's not my life, or, it never seems to work out for me. There's sort of these cliche phrases that we have that pull us down and feel like, well, that's not going to work out, or I can't see that happening. Expecting magic is really, really powerful. Is there a way that you can lock that into people's minds so that after this show, they go forward expecting magic, expecting magic, expecting magic? Give it to us from Diana.
Well, I think, expectation or even the state of wonder takes you into receptivity, doesn't it? I mean, you wake up in the morning, probably your first thought is, oh gosh, what do I have to do today? It's like responsibility lands in your lap. But what I do, first thing I do is smile, because that gives your body, the endorphins that it needs. And then I start to pose what I call a quantum question. So this question has to contain the energy of the feeling that you want. So I might say something like, where is the most joy to be found today? Or how can I most easily and effortlessly light up this world? And I try to make them as potent as possible. So just the very asking lights up something inside of me that I know will draw to me, magnetize. Science is now actively considering questions about our connection to all that is. The Secret came out 20 years ago, and there was a lot to do to practice The Secret. You had to learn new things. You had to change your thoughts. You had to do all these things. But now scientists are showing, with mirror neurons and all of these other discoveries, and universe is being born now that we can see through this new web camera that's out there. And so they call this field of consciousness, this all that is, the quantum field. And I know from all my life practices that we can be much more aligned, attuned, magnetic to all that is with our vibration, our frequency, our energy. So it's really important, I think it's really important to ask out loud. I've been widowed now for 2 years, so I'm all alone and no neighbors, and I can yell out. And sometimes, we all get caught by negative thinking sometime or self-doubt. And whenever I just jump up and down and stamp my foot and said, come on, I need a miracle now. And somehow in the next 12 hours, unbelievable things happen. Phone calls come in, invitations, moments of insight. I think that we need to. I think we need to do that. I think it's the practice that we need to do.
It's so true. I mean, I love this idea of a quantum question, and I'm thrilled that your new book is coming out. Can you talk a little bit about that book, because I'm like hungry for it. I'm even like, okay, let's get a workbook going. How can we collaborate? I would love to wake up every morning and ask these quantum questions. And why not? How easy is it? It doesn't cost any money. It's just a new practice. It's a new habit. It's a new way of doing things. Share a little bit about the book, because I know after doing 11 books, this one is very, very special to you. I'd love to hear a little bit about how people can utilize the book and some of the tips and strategies that are in it.
Well, one thing they can do is go to my website, which is dianawentworth.com, and download my book called Love Your Heart, because that has all sorts of tips and techniques, and it's free. So you can go do that. And so I'm finishing this book. I don't have a publisher yet. I haven't presented it yet. But already with the encore work that I'm doing, I'm telling you here for the first time what my next step is in life. And I think it's a little shocking to some people, considering that I'm not known for this kind of mentality. But
tell us.
Well, my next book is called A Road Trip to Surrender. And I have all my life always followed a spiritual path. I have always asked questions. I've always been curious. I've listened to all the greatest teachers. And one time when I was really in trouble, I said, what shall I do? And the words voluntary simplicity came to me. And I've never heard more perfect words, because it wasn't something that I ever did before. But now I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell my condo here in Palm Springs. I'm getting rid of all my stuff. I'm going to find a perfect little place to land that's just very peaceful and comforting and serene. I'm going to start teaching and visiting. I just today got an invitation to go to a spa for a couple of months and teach there. I'm going to visit some of the 1,500 speakers that we've had at the Edge and go into their world. And I'm going on the road, and it's going to be with maybe one suitcase. And I'm going to live in what I call passionate presence. I've meditated for so many years. And I love to teach yoga. I'm certified in Hatha yoga and restorative yoga. I love to share that. I love to share it to the tracks on Newcom, which is an app I use to meditate. So I'll be presenting that. And I just can't wait to see how this all turns out. So by November, when I finish this round of Encore Wisdom Circle that all of these women are participating in, I'm going to be all ready to pack that one bag and go.
Oh my goodness. Incredible breaking news right here on the Legacy Lounge. I absolutely love it. There's so many beautiful pieces to that. Being in presence, having that surrender. Congratulations. I just think it's phenomenal. And I can't wait to go to one of the retreats or one of the centers that you're at and just immerse myself in what you're doing. And folks, I hope you really notice what Diana shared, that well, first of all, she said my next book when she hasn't even finished the book that she's doing, which I so love, because that's a passionate writer. But it also shows that ideas come to us and we have to take action on them. I'm sure even though Diana is sharing this in such bliss, there's probably moments where she's like, should I, couldn't I, am I ready for it? And then yes, moving forward in that direction. Yes to the next book. Yes to the next idea. Yes to the people that she's going to meet. Diana, what's so great about it is you don't have to know all the hows. You just know the intention, the trajectory, where you're headed, and all of the other stuff will unfold. Can you talk about that? Because sometimes people feel like, well, how is she going to do that? And what exactly does it need to look like? The surrender piece is so powerful.
Oh, I love to share this story because I studied for a couple of years with Roger Housden, who's the author of 10 Poems to Change Your Life, 10 Poems to Open Your Heart. He's one of my favorite teachers. And he told a story that he's never put in a book. He lives in London. There was a knock on the door. He opened it, and here was this man from China, this Chinaman, and he came in and he said, I don't know why, but I was drawn to come here and tell you this story. So he told Roger, he said the night before he left China, he was a young man, his grandfather came to him and invited him on a trip down by the river. So they walked down there, and the river was covered with mist. You couldn't see anything at all. And his grandfather pointed to just a stone that was just barely offshore, and he said, do you see that stone? Yes. He said, that's a stepping stone. Your life will be like that. You can only see one at a time. So I think if you're going in your true heart's direction, that once you start to take the steps, what's magically showing up for me right now is I had lunch with two women who are incredible, and they said, oh, well, you have to go to this spa and they'll love you. You can be there for 3 months. And I thought, well, there's a good start. But, if I hadn't taken the first step and started sharing it like I am with you, I'm welcome to all sorts of input. I think we have to trust. I think that's the last measure of the steps that we have to take in our life. We have to trust and we have to surrender. And everything will be fine.
And we know that there is something taking care of us, something guiding us, because we're listening to our intuition. We're dialing into our desires. We're setting up the habits and the pathway for possibility to unfold. And then we are creating a container for it to all percolate and develop versus sticking with status quo or being locked into habits that are, unproductive and those sorts of things. I love it. I am like hooking my caboose to you because you are so inspiring and you are so encouraging. And I love, again, you shared at the beginning of the show your age. In the last few minutes that we have, can you talk a little bit about legacy? Because many people feel that it's something that comes at a greater age. And I really want to dispel that we all have the mindset for legacy, for building blocks. I mean, we meet young children who I want to be an astronaut. I want to change the world. I want to invent this. They're already creating legacy in their minds. We all have the ability to build a legacy. It's not just something that necessarily comes to us with age, but looking back on the last 82 years of your life, can you speak a little bit about that?
I sure can. I had two incredible marriages. I was married for 56 years with only 8 months in between. And what I learned from that is that the joy of that came from the loving. We all look for somebody to love us and admire us and everything, but we don't really take it in because we don't believe it. But when we're loving, we become a great pipe and we become a fountain. So every morning I'm thinking, how can I be more of a fountain today into the world? So that I'm not a suck. I'm not needing you to admire me, but I'm needing to pour out upliftment. I need to just spark delight in people or spark any kind of good feeling in people. And that's my job.
And I feel exactly the same. I just love to go out and shine the light, ignite, inspire, spark, light the match, create the rocket fuel. It's so true. There's something beautiful and divine and so uplifting and just invigorating in knowing that you can help and support another person's life. Well, we are going to pop up on the screen how people can find you. Go and get that free download. I want a copy for sure. And just be a part of what Diana is doing. Obviously, she's going to be off on the road doing magnificent things, talking to incredible people. And so follow her on social media, go to her website and find out more about what she's doing, because when legacy makers decide to spark into something new and create a brand new chapter in their lives, magic unfolds. So I can't wait to see and just watch you and see all the things that you're doing. Any last words for our viewers? Because folks, just to remind you, Diana's going to be spending another hour with us backstage in the Legacy Lounge Backstage Pass. So if you want to join us and get more tips and more strategies, this is where she really unpacks the goodness and shares all the yumminess of many, many of her years of experience. Go to legacylounge.life and you can get a backstage pass. Just click on the link, register, and you can come join us for the next hour. But before this show ends, Diana, what would you love to share with someone who's sitting there feeling like, I have a dream, I have a wish, I have a desire, and I'm just afraid to just take that chasm and jump that and make that leap? Any words for them?
Yes. I can't tell you exactly how magic works, but I can show you. So put your hand on your heart and close your eyes and take a deep, grateful breath and come home. Thank you.
It's so beautiful. Just a few moments of just feeling yourself and coming home and being present and getting grounded. So powerful. Thanks, Dana. We'll see you over in the lounge, and we'll see you there to share some more. All right, folks. Well, I hope that was helpful, because here's the thing. Each and every one of us has the ability to create legacy. In fact, you're already probably creating legacy, but you may not realize it. And this show is really designed to help you realize that the magic is in you. The power is within you. The ability is yours. The vision is right in front of you. You just have to decide that you want to go after it, that you want to enjoy it, that you want to be in it. You know, it's never going to be perfect. In fact, it's not even designed to be perfect. It's designed to be filled with joy and exploration. It's designed to be filled with fun and frolic and that ability to just surrender and come home and be with you. Do what you love. Do what feels good for you. Create a legacy around the things that inspire you, and you will inspire others. Well, if you want to know more about what we're doing, please go to our website and find out how you can participate in more of our incredible speakers. We meet every Thursday on Traverse TV at this time and talk about building legacy with people who are doing it. Now, they're just like you. They've started, they've decided, and they've gone after it. So if you've got a dream in your mind, I hope that legacy is the next thing on your decision plate, the next thing you want to go after. All right, well, we're going to go spend some time with Diana in the lounge, and we will see you next week right here on the Legacy Lounge with Lady JB.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.